It's bracket breakdown time on the AZ Wildcats podcast. It's March Madness, folks. Wake up!
Welcome in, everybody, to the AZ Wildcats podcast, and it is tournament time with my guy, Kevin Thomas. I am Damon Fairall. We are in PHNX HQ. And Kevin, yesterday we found out Arizona's bracket reveal in the East region, the 4 seed. How we living? How we feeling one day's sleep afterwards? Any new thoughts? I know we did our live reaction to the bracket. And check that out if you haven't done so already on our YouTube page in our Arizona Wildcats playlist. But how are we feeling after one day, Kevin?
Feeling good, Damon Dog. Came in here repping the Arizona warm-up hoodie today. Feeling really good. I'm ready to be put into a game. I don't care against who. I saw Tobe Awaka at the little Selection Sunday party that Arizona basketball hosted. Man, he looked locked in, Damon Dog. I don't know if you saw videos, but when Arizona was announced, Tobe Awaka's leaning back like this. Everybody else is kind of like, yeah, we made it. Hey, 4 seed. We worked hard this year. Tobe's leaned back. He was doing an interview. I look like Erica said it to me this morning. She was like, I've never seen Tobe more locked in. He was being interviewed by somebody. I forget who it was. He's looking at the person like this, Damon. I don't care what you got to say. When we play Akron.
He's got big eyes too.
When we play Akron. I don't care.
They'll stare right through you.
Yeah, no, so I'm
100%.
I'm excited, Damon Dog. The team seems locked in. Akron, we're going to talk about them today. Good team, probably the best team maybe in their program's history. But it's going to take a Herculean effort from them if they're going to overcome the Arizona Wildcats. That's just the situation of it, Damon. But how are you feeling one day removed from the bracket? Lots of interesting storylines. Arizona may be in the most star-studded bracket of them all, or the region of them all. Yeah.
I think, we were talking about it a little bit off air, Kevin. This region is extremely top-heavy. I think, all of the top 4 teams are very legit. I think Oregon is a good team, but they were never a team that you were really, scared about throughout the entirety of the Big Ten season. And I don't rate the Big Ten all that highly. So, in accordance with that, I don't think Oregon is all that great, Kevin. But when you talk about the 1 through 4 of Duke, Alabama, Wisconsin, Arizona, I think it's about as strong as of a 1 through 4 as you'll find here in this year's NCAA tournament. So yeah, I think Arizona got somewhat of a tough hand dealt to them. But I've heard this from other people. I kind of say this every year, Kevin. Like, if you're a team with Final Four aspirations, you're gonna have to beat some good teams, man. Even if they're double-digit seeds that get in your way, like, they made it to that point because they're beating teams that are rated higher than them, right? That are seeded higher. So
1,000%.
If Arizona's going to want to get to the spot that all of this fan base wants them to get to, which is make the first Final Four since 2001. I would say that it doesn't really matter who they're gonna have to beat the Dukes of the world to get there. They're gonna if they get there and they play Houston, yeah, that would really suck. But that's the nature of making it that far. So I'm less worried about the opponents and more worried about how Arizona can control how they play. And if they lose similarly to how they've lost twice to Houston this year, Kevin, where it was just made pretty clear that Houston was just a better team than Arizona. Like, down the stretch, they didn't make the mistakes that Arizona made. They just Houston, they have an answer for everything, right? If that's how Arizona loses here in the tournament, I'll put my hand up and be like, you know what, that was they fought hard. They didn't have it. Like, Duke just overmanned them. But if they lose to an Akron or a Liberty or an Oregon in the first 2 rounds here, Kevin, I think that's where I'll be extremely disappointed in the outcome of this season.
Like Mr. Tyler Wharton here in the chat says, expectation is Sweet 16. Anything else is gravy.
Yeah.
Damon, kind of going in that in that vein, I know you kind of just gave what would be a disappointment, but what is your expectation? If that makes sense, if the distinction makes sense, yeah. So you're on the same page as Mr. Tyler Warden. I'm on the same page with both of you. I'm aligned with that.
I've been saying it all year, Kevin. Sweet 16s mean nothing to me anymore. It's Erica's favorite thing that I say. I don't care about Sweet 16s. They mean absolutely nothing to me anymore. They better make the Sweet 16. They should make the Sweet 16. And then if after that, like, if they were to, play a Duke in the Sweet 16 and beat that team, I would then be pretty ecstatic, Kevin. I would treat even an Elite Eight, even though I've seen a few of them in my lifetime, I would treat that as a big time win as it is. You know what I mean? But first couple rounds, I think that's what you got to do that as a team that is in the spot that Arizona is in, and Tommy Lloyd. I mean, he's made 2 Sweet 16s in his first 3 years here. Let's see if it should be 3 out of 4. I would say.
Yeah, Damon, I feel like, it's a tough region, right, Damon Dog? But I feel as though Tommy Lloyd does have a chance to maybe break through and reach his first Elite Eight as a coach as well this year, Damon Dog. And actually, maybe even, dare I say, his first Final Four, right? Because some of the best teams in this side of the bracket, Damon, I know you said you don't care about Sweet 16s. I do care about Sweet 16s, but I will say this year I don't care about Sweet 16s, Damon, because the way the bracket is set up for Arizona, I feel like a Sweet 16 is the expectation, right? I don't think that there's really a wrench that should be thrown Arizona's direction that they can't handle, that they haven't proven that they already can overcome, Damon Dog. You're looking at any possible matchup in order to reach the Sweet 16 where you would either then play against Duke or Baylor, most likely. You could also face Mississippi State. But yeah, Sweet 16 or complete bust for me as well, Damon Dog.
Yeah, Mr. Tyler Warden here in the chat. If we beat Duke, it'd be on par with 2011 as my favorite March Madness memory of all time. 2011 was pretty electric, Kevin. I believe I've showed you the Derek Williams highlights from
Yes.
The Duke game in 2011. I believe that was actually the Sweet 16 that to the Elite Eight. So Arizona's been here before against this exact same team. Who's going to be the Derek Williams of this team? Leave it in the chat here. Let us know. Will it be Mr. March Tournament Trey Townsend himself, Kevin? Will it be Carter Bryant, taking the baton and upping his NBA draft stock, right before the end of the season here? Will it be?
Let's keep that draft stock right where it's at, Damon Dog. Let's keep that draft stock right where it's at.
It would be electric though if someone could just dominate Duke in a similar fashion to how Derek Williams did. Never seen a performance like that out of an Arizona player in the tournament. But Trivial Pursuit, we will show you our bracket. We will be doing that actually tomorrow. Kevin and I will do a live bracket rundown. We'll also be doing our Survivor picks tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Kevin and if
you have any recommendations for stakes, what me and Damon should have on the line, we were kind of trying to debate it yesterday, but we couldn't really come down on anything too cemented.
I had an idea because there's a Chelsea player with a specific haircut, and I kind of liked it, and then I was thinking to myself, and I was like, I bet Kevin actually would be like 2 game for that. So maybe not.
What's the player? I'll look it up real quick.
It was Wesley Fofana is his name. He just has it's nothing like his hair is nothing crazy. He just has like a heart in the back of his head that he has like shaved in.
Okay.
And I was saying that we could get the CLB heart.
Yeah, CLB heart is kind of. I'm a huge Drake fan, but that is kind of crazy.
I was thinking
I'm not gonna lie.
We could put a CLB heart somewhere in our haircut on the line here, which I thought could be pretty funny. Just like me walking around, town with the fucking heart etched into my head. But yeah, Kevin and I are gonna do a head-to-head Survivor. Early ground rules, and if you guys have any rules or think that any idea is part of this to make this a better idea, please hit us. We'd love to incorporate you guys in it, but we're going to figure out a bet. We have an option there, something I think that's funny, Kevin. I don't know if you like that or not.
I don't mind it. I'm trying to think about where exactly.
I'm wondering if you're underplaying this a little bit because you're like in the back of your mind, you're like, low key would love to have an excuse to do that. It's
if
like
anything,
Totri with the buzz cut.
If anything, it might be the opposite, Damon. I think I might be underplaying it so that we can kind of have this conversation and it can kind of be forgotten about. Because I don't know where I would shave that on my head. I don't.
Yeah, you're in a little bit more of a like I
have a
would,
spot like I have like a space in the back that I could do like on the corner. I could do that because I did lose a dread like a while back and it grew back. So. Not the dread, but the hair grew back.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I could do it there. There's a spot. There is a spot. There's room on the canvas for a heart.
Early ground rules. We were just gonna do first 2 rounds, no top 4 seeds. You can't pick a top 4 seed. You obviously, like any Survivor pool, you can't, pick the same team twice. So first 2 rounds through to the Sweet 16, no top 4 seeds are allowed. That means 5-12 matchups are allowed, but that's obviously, as we know, like the most a common upset, I should say, in college basketball. And then no, you can't use the same team twice. And then Kevin and I will go through to the final. And if it makes it there, Kevin, I think that we'll just have to choose opposite sides of the final, and we'll figure out who gets first choice on that if it so makes it there. But yeah, we'll put some stakes on the line. Again, put it in the chat if you guys have any additions to that you thought would be interesting or worthwhile. Let us know who you guys are riding with. Like I said, we'll be showing you guys our bracket tomorrow. Yeah, Kevin, you said you're feeling okay about Arizona's bracket. I'll tell you what, I like Arizona's first 2 rounds the way that it's played out, but I think after that things get really, really difficult, Kevin.
It does. Well, things could get really, really difficult after those first 2 games, right? As you referenced, first game being against Akron, and then you have the potential of an Oregon or Liberty matchup, because don't sleep on Liberty Bibberty. I've been high on Liberty Bibberty, the Libs all season. No, I'm just kidding. I've been higher than the last 2 weeks, Damon Dog. But I think that Liberty could upset Oregon. I think that, that'd be a fun upset. It's a realistic upset. I'm kind of scared because a lot of people are identifying that upset. When I identified it, I was like, oh, maybe I'm onto something.
I think you were the first guy to have said it, Kevin. You genuinely were the number 1 guy to have said it. You said it right away.
I did. And now I'm seeing everyone else, maybe people even smarter than me, maybe say it. And now I'm like, oh, maybe it might be a little bit more groupthink than I thought. But no, I'm still confident in the Liberty. In Liberty there. But you could face Duke. You could face Baylor. Mississippi State is also a possibility. There's a literal % chance that you could face them, but you could face 1%. Duke or you could face Baylor. And I think even though Duke is maybe the best team in the nation, right? There's a couple teams in contention for that. Duke is one of them. Even though Duke is going to be one of the more challenging potential matchups Arizona could have in this tournament, it's a team Arizona's already faced this year. Tommy Lloyd does great in rematch opportunities. True. And not only that, someone literally Mr. Tyler Warden, smart guy, was on my brain with that one. People forget that when they played Duke, Caleb had his worst game of the year, and Awaka and Henry weren't really playing yet. And that's so true. The team that Duke faced, the Arizona team that Duke faced, was not the same Arizona team that they will face if they match up against them in the tournament. And it's going to be neutral, so you're not having to go to Duke. I know it's closer to Duke than it is to Arizona. I think it's in Newark that game would be.
That is, dude, I'm telling you right now, Kevin, New Jersey is full of Duke fans. Yeah. You can't really explain it, but that game might as well be held in Cameron Indoor.
There's literally nothing in Newark, New Jersey worth rooting for. So I feel like you got
2 lottery picks on your team this year. You didn't even sniff an NCAA tournament bid. I'm talking about Rutgers.
No, I know you are. Because Rutgers and basketball go in the same sentence. You know what I mean? I don't know. Newark, New Jersey. I've been to New Jersey. For reference, this is not like when Saul called us out for never having been to KC and then, kind of making fun of Kansas City. I have been to New Jersey. I've explored New Jersey a couple times. And I couldn't be any less excited for our beloved Wildcats to be going to Newark, New Jersey, the capital of America, the entertainment capital of America. But anyway,
got to get there first, Kevin.
Yeah, you do have to get there first, and that's what we were talking about, right? If you face Duke, you're not the same team. They're also not the same team. They're improved. Cooper Flagg, best freshman in the nation, has only gotten better over the course of the year. Will he be 100%? Likely by then he will be. But yeah, and then also I kind of wanted to talk about a possible matchup with Alabama as well, Damon, because if Alabama was to make it out of their side, that could be Arizona's toughest matchup as well, even with Grant Nelson nursing that knee injury. You said, the first 2 matchups are where they can get their bread buttered, and then after that, you really gotta. It's 2 dogs, 1 bone, to quote Tommy Lloyd. After that,
You love that quote, man.
I love it so much. It
I know you
might
do.
be my favorite quote of all time.
Kevin finds a way to throw that in once a show at minimum here. But yeah, I actually kind of like the Alabama matchup with no Grant Nelson. I don't know how much that impacts your thought process
I
on
love it
Alabama.
without Grant Nelson.
I think Alabama is a team that, they can overpower teams without one of their, two best players. With their 3-point shooting, their pace and whatnot. But I think against a team like Arizona, without that size, without that scoring output, from their best front court scorer in Grant Nelson, I think that Arizona could take advantage of that big man matchup. But ultimately, I feel like Arizona's guards are what's gonna, have to power them through the tournament. That's essentially how it works every single year, Kevin. And we're gonna break down, our dark horses, our Cinderellas, our
And
favorite.
Akron. Because we might be getting out ahead of our, we can't get too ahead of our skis. French
For
fries,
sure.
French fries and pizza slice. French fries is speed up, pizza slice is slow down. You can't get out over your skis, Damon Dog. You got to
say that they're not one of those. They don't fit into one of those categories, Kevin. You'll just have to find out on the other side of this break.
You have to find out. Man, Damon Dog, that was a real smooth transition. And if you want to look real smooth, head over to our friends over at Branded Bills to get some of the absolute cleanest headwear in the game. If you want to elevate your brand, you can use Branded Bills. The most comfortable truckers, fitted, beanies, snapbacks. What else they got? T-shirts as well over at Branded Bills. All the above. Damon Dog. They have college collections, so they do great stuff with the University of Arizona. Really cool, unique designs you will not find anywhere else, Damon Dog. Not only that, you won't find people as cool as the people over at Branded Bills. Very nice, very kind people came in here asking me and Damon Dog what we would want to put on an Arizona hat, how we would want our school to get represented on a hat. Very, very, very cool. So make sure to elevate your brand with Branded Bills. Head over to brandedbills.com. Use code PHNX for 20% off your first order. That's code PHNX at Branded Bills. Elevate your brand.
Talking about our friends over at Branded Bills. Now we're talking about our friends over at Sanderson Ford. Kevin, I've been driving around recently thinking to myself, damn, it'd be so much nicer if I was driving in a brand new Bronco.
Oh, yeah.
Bronco Badlands specifically. I told you about this the other day. Like, right next to me in my apartment complex, always parks there. There is a Bronco Badlands convertible, and it's gray, which would be my color of choice as well. It literally taunts me.
They make convertibles of those?
They do.
I haven't looked too deep into it. I just know it's a beautiful car.
Yeah, they make convertible. I mean, because you want to take the roof down, feel the air on your
top off.
Yeah, take the top off, feel the air on your hair. You know how it is. But yeah, I'm gonna have to head over to Sanderson Ford. Go talk with the sales team over there. Go talk with our guy Ron and the sales team. Figure out how I can get myself into a Bronco Badlands because they are genuinely the coolest cars out there on the streets these days. We're proud that Sanderson Ford is PHNX's official vehicle sponsor. It's currently Truck Month, which means the Broncos are involved in Truck Month, Kevin, if you didn't know that, but also the Mavericks, Rangers, F-150s, Super Duties, all part of the Truck Month sale here. 2024 models, finance offers for 36 months OAC through Ford Credit. Discounts include Ford rebates, Sanderson discounts plus trade assistance, and Conquest cash you must qualify for. Go over to Sanderson Ford for the no hassle, no pressure, no nonsense. See why they're America's most awarded Ford dealership and the biggest Ford dealership with the best customer satisfaction. Sanderson Ford. Well, Kevin, it's the title of the show. It's what we get in this for. People love to give their picks, right? And I think you wanted to make this very East region centric. I very much push back on that because I hate the East region so much from this standpoint of just like kind of picking against a lot of the chalk teams. Because I think that the East region is so top heavy, Kevin. And that being said, that probably means that there's going to be some upsets and, knock on wood, God willing, it's not us, Kevin. But yeah, let's run through this East region here. Let's look at some of the matchups, look at some of the teams, and go through who we think maybe are some of the more slept on, Power 4 teams, some of the more slept on Group 5 teams, and just some of our favorite matchups overall.
Yeah, Damon Dog. Let's start. Should we start with our dark horse picks?
Let's do it.
Let's start with the dark horse picks. Now, for definition's sake, I'm using the definition of a dark horse team.
Kevin's getting very technical about this
because it's important, right? Because I saw a video about this morning, and it resonated with me so hard because I've been feeling this way forever. Everyone says dark horses are like I don't know, like a mid-major school, when in reality that's not a dark horse, because a mid-major school really is not going to win the national title, Damon Dog. That's a Cinderella school. If you're a mid-major school, that's a Cinderella pick, right? And now
Yeah.
a dark horse pick is a Power 5 school that you think could make a run to the Final Four, Damon Dog. So under those pretenses, my pick for dark horse. Now, this is a bit controversial. Me and Damon were kind of going back and forth about this because, like I said, I wanted to keep it East-centric. And Damon, I didn't really put him in that box, but I wanted to keep mine kind of what could mostly affect Arizona as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I have not heard a lot of talk about Wisconsin making a Final Four run specifically, and I feel like John Tonje, the way that he played against Arizona specifically, made me think, this is a player that can really light it up in these big games, and all you need in March Madness is a guy that can, not all you need, but one of the things that can really take you from competing in March Madness to winning in March Madness is a guy that can be a top end scorer in the country on any given night.
Yeah.
And he is that. And I feel like they're not getting as much love as maybe they should be getting, especially with some of the teams on their side being banged up, notably Alabama, who they would have to get through to eventually possibly face in Arizona in that Sweet 16, Damon. So my pick for a dark horse that could make a run on specifically the East bracket is Wisconsin.
Don't mind it from a analytics breakdown standpoint, Kevin. Hate it from a personal standpoint, and that's kind of the funny part about Arizona's bracket, right? Is it's a lot of our old nemesises. I feel
Yeah,
like,
we're gonna run into a lot of X's on this vacation.
Well,
You know
I mean, like even a school like Alabama, like their coach Nate Oates, he embarrassed us in the first round when he was Buffalo's head coach against that DeAndre Ayton team. I mean, I've never been more embarrassed in my life than that matchup. So, even he's an old friend. You got Wisconsin, who I yesterday I was watching someone fill out their bracket on a stream, Kevin, and they predicted Wisconsin over Arizona in the Elite Eight, which would crush me.
Yeah, that would crush me too.
Like at that point, I don't know how I would continue to do this podcast. I don't know how I'd walk in here and do a post-game show for a third straight Elite Eight where Arizona matches up with Wisconsin and loses.
Oh boy,
for a chance to go to the Final Four. That would be debilitating, to say the least, Kevin. And I might be buying a one-way ticket to Madison, Wisconsin in said circumstances. But hopefully we don't get there. We also have Duke along the way. Arizona, Duke, obviously a lot of history there. Lost in a national championship to them in our last Final Four run that we've had. Beat them in a Sweet 16 in 2011, as we already talked about on the show. So lots of old friends along the way, Kevin, in this tournament. But time for me to give my dark horse, and it's another old friend, BYU.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great pick. BYU is incredible. Well,
I've been saying it all year, or at least not all year, but pretty much ever since Arizona beat them the first game that they played. And I'm not saying that I walked out of that game, like a 10-point win on the road there in Provo, being like, wow, BYU is so impressive. I thought BYU was a solid team, but
yeah,
I'm more talking about from that game on, because it feels like that BYU team kind of flipped a switch after that moment. And then when they came into McHale and won, I mean, it's always incredibly difficult to win in McHale Center, Kevin. So
you know me, I contend that Arizona should never lose in the McHale Center. So yeah, Damon, I agree with you.
Well, and here's where I believe in BYU. You got to win on the margins in the NCAA tournament, Kevin. And
you definitely do.
BYU, I believe in Kevin Young. I believe in their coaching staff. I think that when you got to win on the margins and you have a guy who's drawn out of timeouts plays like Kevin Young was for BYU, NBA caliber coach, really, Kevin. I really do think that plays a factor in this. And I'm going with BYU as my dark horse team in the East region here, because their offense is so damn good. I think that they match up in a decent way with a lot of the teams in their kind of side of the region as well. And I don't mean that to say that they're going to beat Wisconsin, they're going to beat Alabama, but I do mean it to say that they want to run, right? They want to play fast offense. They want to get into those kind of high scoring games. I bet you that, stylistically they would rather play in Alabama than a St. Mary's. I'm not saying that that's a better game for them because, Alabama is obviously a lot better than St. Mary's, but
I know what you mean.
I do think that BYU is well suited for these kind of run and gun style games because they're such a good shooting team, So I think BYU can go a long way. I've been saying it for the better part of about a month now, Kevin, and BYU is my dark horse in the East region here.
No, I honestly, Damon, I love that. I love that you spoke specifically to the idea that some of the matchups on their side of the bracket are kind of beneficial to the way that they want to play.
It's
right?
Like it's the fast offense side of the bracket.
Yes.
And then Arizona's not on that side, obviously, but I wish we were.
Yeah, and the way that BYU plays, the way they want to play is kind of set up for their side of the bracket, as you alluded to. But, Damon, dog, I love BYU. Kevin Young runs a very pro-style offense. In fact, I wanted to bring that up in a little bit when there's a shot chart that I saw on Twitter that I wanted to talk about after we get through this segment, Damon. And I'm definitely going to talk about BYU's pro-style offense in that segment as well. Because when you look at where they're shooting from, it's threes and it's dunks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not really dunks specifically, but threes and paint touches.
That's what the math tells you, man.
Exactly what the math tells you. Exactly how the pros are doing it. BYU is a scary, scary team if you are in a March Madness style tournament, Damon. But if you're also in a March Madness style tournament, you're going to have some teams that have some beautiful Cinderella stories. And hopefully, Damon and I might be able to identify who are the two most scariest Cinderella picks. Mine coming from the East, Damon's coming from abroad.
Does the slipper fit, Kevin? I want to throw in a quick little cliche for us here on.
I love Monday a cliche, morning. Damon dog. I love a cliche.
See, I said it to be corny, and that probably like fired you up.
Oh, it did.
Kevin's
like
ready to run through that wall behind him.
Oh, I'm super ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. In fact, when you said that,
Kevin was like, "Damn, I can't believe I didn't think about saying
literally,
that."
That's actually what I was just gonna say. I was gonna say as soon as you said that, the thought that crossed my mind was like, "Damn, I wish I queued it up with that. That's so much better than what I did. That's so much more clever than what I came up with."
I'm sitting there being like, trying to say some like unironically, or
corny,
ironically corny, cringe stuff, and Kevin's
and I'm unironically like, "Man, that's so much better. Heat. That's so much better than what I did."
That was some heat, man.
I'm over here like, and if you're in a March Madness style tournament, you're also going to have Cinderellas. No, I should have said if the shoe fits, if the slipper fits, you should wear it.
You did.
And I think it's a possibility that we have Eagle Talons entering the slipper. I think Liberty is a terrifying tournament team, Damon.
They are.
The way that they can shoot the ball is among the best in the country. They can defend the three ball among the best in the country. They're incredibly efficient offensively. They run a high tempo, to my memory as well. And Liberty, look, they might not be the most talented squad of all time, right? Just on a base raw talent, but their system is very well ran. They have a couple of guards that can score it with the best of them, Damon Dog. So, yeah, I think Liberty is going to be tough for the Oregon Ducks in this round of 64. And if they can get through the Oregon Ducks, and if Arizona can get through Akron, that is not something that the Wildcats can sleep on. I don't know how you feel. I think you agree with me on that. But
yeah, I don't want to play Liberty.
Liberty's a nightmare matchup for a lot of teams in this tournament. Oregon being one and Arizona being another. And that could be two possible matchups for them in this tournament. So I think, as unfortunate as it may be, in the East region, for me, I think Liberty is the Cinderella pick if you're going to make that pick.
Liberty is such an interesting team, Kevin. Because when you look at them from a breakdown standpoint, they are the number 2 effective field goal percentage team in the entire country, right?
Yeah.
They are the number 10 defensive effective field goal percentage team in the country. Except they're 80th in offense and 48th in defense. So from an efficiency standpoint, they're top 10 offensively and defensively, like holding their opponents to bad shooting percentages and shooting to great percentages themselves. And yet their actual overall adjusted efficiency is not very high in either, Kevin. They don't really turn the ball over. They're a bottom 5 offensive rebounding team in the country, out of every team, even the horrible teams. And that's in large part because they're one of the shortest teams in the country. They're bottom 20 in height out of all teams in the country, out of 364. They also, another really interesting thing about them, Kevin, they're 5th in 3-point percentage as a team. They're 348th in free throw percentage as a team.
All right, I will say I did not know the free throw percentage part, and that really kind of scares me because in these games where you need to win on the margins, free points counts as a margin.
In what world does that make sense,
It makes
Kevin?
no sense. You know,
How
honestly,
can you
maybe
shoot
that
39.5% from three-point land as a team, but from the free throw line, you guys shoot 65.4%. They're the anti-Arizona. Arizona's shooting 80% from the frickin' line.
Can't make a three.
They can't buy a three. This is Liberty and Arizona are the antithesis of each other, which I think if Liberty beats Oregon and upsets Oregon, that sets up for a really interesting matchup in the second round for Arizona potentially, where I really do think it would come down to, can Arizona win the free throw attempt battle by genuinely by 20 free throws, Kevin? I think that's what the game would come down to in that circumstance, because I've watched enough Arizona basketball this year to know that a team like Liberty that's fifth in three-point shooting, they're going to spread it out. They're going to hit. They're hitting 13 threes against Arizona in that game. So we're going to have to live at the free throw line in that one, and I think that would be huge. But yes,
also,
Liberty
Damon,
is
Liberty
is an insane team, Kevin. They're just really all over the place. I don't really know how to judge them. I think that what makes them such a crazy wild card, and I think they're a bad matchup for Oregon.
I'm with you on that. We talked about that yesterday when we were watching Selection Sunday show live. If you haven't checked that out and you have some free time, go check that out today. But I also wanted to real quick, before you mentioned your Cinderella pick, Damon Dog, I wanted to bring up Javier's comment here. Javier says mine is hopefully GCU for a Cinderella pick, Damon Dog. And if you look at GCU, like I'm talking about this because it'd be such an entertaining thing to have a team like GCU make it far in the tournament, have a run like they started to do a couple years back, right? The Tyon Grant Foster team is always interesting. They have the Crab 5 in the round of 64, Damon. I don't know if you know that. They got the Crab 5 on deck in the round of 64 in Maryland. That's a really tough hill to climb.
Yeah.
But if they can get past it, it doesn't get any easier, because then they have Memphis or Colorado State, and then they also could face either UConn or Florida. So GCU, if they're gonna have the Cinderella run, it would truly have to be a Cinderella run, because they got some of the tougher teams you can face in the bracket, and on their way to a possible Sweet 16. But yeah, like I said, if I didn't pick Liberty, I probably would have picked Damon Dog's pick, because Damon, who do you have as your Cinderella?
Yeah, Kevin. I have absolutely nobody as my Cinderella, at least in the East region. So I know we've been focusing on the East region, but I said it earlier in the show. I really do think that this is a very chalk region. I don't see a lot of upsets happening. I do think Oregon Liberty is very interesting, Kevin. I think that that's the one I really have circled, because I think Liberty, and we'll talk about this in a second here more so, but I really do think Liberty presents a horrible matchup for Oregon. But you could also make the argument that the other way around. That's what makes the NCAA tournament so fun, right? Like, you have teams that have size versus teams that have none, and the contrasting styles makes it all the more fun. But yeah, I mean, I don't think, I mean, by your definition, Kevin, Cinderella teams are Group 5 teams. Yes. Well,
actually, Damon, that's actually a Power 5 school. You're not allowed to pick that as a Cinderella. That would be a dark horse. Oh, I'm sorry, Damon. Try again.
Mississippi, Baylor, Duke, they're out. Oregon's out. BYU's out. Wisconsin's out. Vanderbilt's out. Alabama's out. So that leaves, I guess, St. Mary's as a 7 seed is probably one of the more realistic options there. But I wouldn't even really consider them a Cinderella, because they're a 7 seed. They won their conference. That's considered one of the best Group 5 conferences. They beat Gonzaga twice this year. And also on top of that, Kevin, I think that they're going to lose one of their first 2 games. I don't see them getting into the Sweet 16. So I don't really believe in St. Mary's. You could go with VCU. I picked BYU as my dark horse, so that would be very counterintuitive there. I think Liberty's interesting, and again, I said we'll talk about that in a second here. But yeah, those are pretty much my options. Or Akron versus Arizona, which I'm not going to do that either, because I have too much love in my heart for the boys. But so I got no one in the East region. I really am not scared of a Cinderella run from many of these teams. And that being said, it's probably going to be Akron, but which will be the most disgusting result ever. Again, knock on wood.
Boo, tomato, boo.
I'm flipping over to the West region, Kevin, to give my Cinderella here. I'm going with Colorado State.
Great pick.
One of the hottest teams in the country.
Great pick.
Kind of ran through the Mountain West tournament. Everybody's been fading the Mountain West the last couple of years. It's been like kind of the easy pick. I think that stops this year. I think Colorado State puts on. They got Nick Clifford. He's one of the best scorers in the entire country on their team. He's been absolutely disgusting recently. 19 points per game, Kevin, on 50.7% shooting as a guard in college basketball.
That's incredible.
That's pretty damn good, brother.
Absolutely incredible.
That's incredibly efficient in college basketball. Colorado State favored by 2.5 against 5 seed Memphis in this game, Kevin. I think that's the writing on the wall there.
Erica, cover your ears.
I think Colorado State is winning that game, and then they'll match up against Maryland in the next round, and I love that matchup for them. So, yeah, I'm hoping for a little bit of a Colorado State run here as a sleeper, and I'm sure our DNVR crew would love that as well, Kevin.
Oh yeah, the DNVR crew would go absolutely crazy. And I said cover your ears, Erica Day, because if Colorado State's making this run, Damon,
it's that expensive
the Memphis Tigers got to go down.
Is Erica?
You know what
I mean, you can put this in the chat, Erica. Kevin, you know this, I'm sure, obviously, but are you like locked in on Memphis like that, Erica? Like, is that like your second squad? Like, if you had to pick a team?
I think it is for her. I think it is. I don't want to speak for
Interesting.
her. But she'll probably pop up in the chat.
What are our thoughts on Tennessee? I know, like, I guess I genuinely am curious. Like, does Tennessee expand to like a statewide thing, or because Memphis is so much on the west side of the state, do we kind of not really like Tennessee, or not really F with them? I want to hear. I need to hear the answers from Erica Day here.
But she did say when danger zone makes you eat those words. Don't say you didn't try to pick Colorado State, is I think her point. But while Erica is getting her regional alliances in the chat, Damon, I kind of want to talk to you about our favorite round of 64 matchup.
Let's do it.
You have a couple. Again, I'm going to keep it in the East, but our guy Damon's going to go national with it, which is why,
national podcast.
Yeah, this is why we do this, because I'm going to bring the East, and then Damon's going to do the rest of it, so you have the entire bracket covered, and that's why this makes sense, and it's all beautiful, Damon. Excuse me. My round of 64 matchup that I am really, really interested to see is going to be BYU versus VCU. Hold on, we do have an update. I grew up in Memphis, and it's Memphis versus everybody. And if it's Arizona versus Memphis, ... my loyalties lay at home. Wow.
What?
Wow.
Her loyalties lay at home?
Well, you know what? I know that she said that.
Kevin, I must be.
Maybe she means she grew up there, and it's Memphis versus everybody. But now her new home that she just moved into is located closer to the University of Arizona. So maybe she's saying, yeah, I grew up there, but I'm choosing Arizona because I'm a rational person that would never go against Arizona.
That's possible, Kevin, but I'm not reading it that way.
I'm trying to get her out of this hole that she just put herself in.
You're
That's
trying to
crazy.
give Erica Day the
benefit of the doubt.
Benefit of the doubt here.
But it's pretty clear what she
That'd be
just
like
said.
Kevin being
clear.
Like, it's always it's slew to the day I die,
go
bro.
Go Billikens, baby.
Yeah.
Go Billies, let's go.
And if the Billikens and the Cats match up, I'm Billies all the way.
Oh, yeah, that's a pretty fun fact. Her first words were literally "Go Tigers." So, welcome to the Erica Day Fun Fact Show, Damon Dog, as I was saying. But Erica,
I'm shocked, says Jeff.
Yeah,
Jeff, aren't we all, brother?
You and us both, man.
You
Shocked,
think you know a person,
led
Kevin?
astray, flabbergasted, bamboozled, hoodwinked, swaffer-donked.
Some people are saying this may have to be spoken about in a Spaces. Maybe
8 p.m. Maybe,
tonight,
possibly
at 8 p.m.
8 p.m. on Twitter or X. Or
you never know.
The
that's
artist formerly known as. Yeah, that's
disappointing. Isn't it about where you went to school? At the end of the day,
I mean, I grew up around Mizzou folk my whole life. I sympathize with Mizzou. I support Mizzou tangentially, but ride or die for the school I paid money to go to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I do know what you mean.
This is like I chose Arizona. I specifically didn't choose Mizzou.
I mean, it's just disappointing. Well, I mean, there's a good I don't think Memphis and Arizona I feel like there's a good little relationship there. Josh Pastner was the coach, and I think we can coexist for sure. But I just would have liked to have I would have liked to have heard that Arizona would take priority there, Kevin.
Yeah, especially when Arizona can really win something.
I'm hurt. I'm hurt, to be honest with you. But why don't we get back into our favorite round of 64 matchup discussion?
True.
We got a little sidetracked there. I'm sure we'll get back into that at the end of the show. I'm excited. Hit me with the bad news, Erica. But yeah,
as I was saying, my favorite round of 64 matchup in the East is BYU versus VCU, because I think this one is a great stylistic matchup, Damon Dog. Honestly, let's start here. I was looking at ESPN Plus this morning. They have VCU with a 52% chance to beat BYU, Damon Dog. Not only that, but they're also the betting underdogs. And since I checked less than an hour ago, they've made it 1 point further. It was plus 3.5. Now it's plus 2.5. So if you think VCU can actually win this game, go put your money where your mouth is now while you can get the best odds possible, Damon. But yeah, in simulations, VCU has won almost 70% of the time, Damon, if you would believe that as well. I don't know how much how much stock you put into those simulations, Damon Dog. Some of VCU's notable results: Miami W.
Miami's trash.
They are. No, they are. They are. ACC teams are not great this year.
But Miami was the worst of the bunch, Kevin. They won 3 games in the ACC this year.
I'm just giving you notable results for VCU. I'm not
I'm
saying
just
they're
telling
the most
you
notable in the
Miami's
world.
trash.
They beat Rick Pitino's son in New Mexico, or they lost to them by 7. I meant to say.
Oh.
And Ryan Odom of UMBC. Remember that run? What was their mascot? They have some sort of dog, like a golden retriever. The retrievers.
Yeah,
right?
they're the something labs, right?
I don't know. I think they might be literally the retrievers. Either way.
Oh, I think they are the retrievers. They are. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, either way, they shoot the hell out of the ball, Damon Dog. They're a 3-point shooting squad. And I think that when we were just talking about how well BYU shoots the ball, it kind of feels like diet BYU in a way, like from a stylistic standpoint, right? And I think that's going to be a fun game to watch. I'm not saying it's going to be the best game all tournament, but what I'm most excited for in the Eastern region, round of 64, non-Arizona related, BYU VCU is my matchup that I'm going to be locked in on watching in the round of 64, Damon Dog.
I love BYU money line there. I just saw the number -155.
You should wait.
I absolutely love it.
I almost feel like you should wait.
You think it's going to go down still?
I mean, it went down since I last checked this morning.
It's been down a point.
Okay.
Since it opened.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like if it could keep, who knows?
I just BYU. We know how their fans travel, Kevin. Like that is. I mean, and
not
it's
far either.
No, it's in Denver, right?
Yeah, not far.
Dude,
Salt Lake's
that
Denver,
is gonna that
Provo,
arena is gonna be that arena is gonna be 90% BYU fans, brother.
Yeah, man. I mean,
give me BYU all day long in that game.
I'm not
in the altitude.
I'm not going to gamble on VCU. I'm just saying if you like VCU, now is the time to bet on VCU.
In the altitude, like they're used to, VCU not used to that. I like BYU there, but I do think it's a fun matchup, Kevin. Moving on to my East matchup that intrigues me the most. It's going to be Oregon Liberty. We already talked about it, Kevin, but we talk about it a little bit further. I just think Oregon, they're obviously going to play through Biddle. That's kind of their thing. They have size. They play 3 guards. But that third guard is TJ Bamba, who Arizona fans you might be a little bit familiar with. He was at Washington State for 3 seasons. 2 years ago, he left Washington State after his junior year, but he averaged 16 points per game. Rough year at Oregon this year, but a player that could definitely present some problems in the tournament and has the experience to do so. Athleticism and it is pretty big for a guard. He's like 6'5", 6'6". So yeah, I think Oregon's they have a lot of size. Kevin, Liberty has none. We talked about it. Liberty, horrific offensive rebounding team, amazing 3-point shooting team. Oregon, not a good 3-point shooting team. Kevin, let's find the stats here on Oregon real quick. Oregon is 171st in 3-point shooting in the country, which is essentially right dead in the middle. So I think that there's a world in which Liberty just says we're shooting 40 3-pointers in this game, and they make 18 of them, Kevin. And Oregon, they don't need to offensive rebound, which they won't do if they gets to that point, because Oregon's going to crush the rebounding battle. I think it's going to come down to who's making shots in this game. Can Oregon answer shots from Liberty? Can they answer Liberty's 3-point shooting with some of their own? Like, I think that there's the potential that, that they just overmatch a Liberty team and play a very efficient offensive game. But I think the contrasting styles make it really fun, Kevin. Liberty is one of the slowest teams in the entire country too. I think they're going to play the way Liberty wants to play. It's going to be a slow game. And I really don't know who Arizona's going to be playing in the second round because I do think Arizona makes it through the first round, but it'll be interesting to see. I think it really could be Liberty, and I kind of hope it's not, because I think that their style of play is so different than Arizona's that it would really present some matchup problems.
I agree with everything you had to say about Liberty there. I'm a huge Liberty guy now, Damon Dog. I'm actually thinking about buying a sweatshirt, maybe even getting an eagle tattooed on me. They actually have a pretty cool like alternate logo, Damon Dog.
I don't think you want to associate.
No, I'm going pretty hard in the paint right now. But I'm just being hyperbolic for the state of how in I am on this basketball team this year, Damon Dog. I actually really don't want to associate with Liberty that much, to be honest with you. But that's neither here nor there, Damon Dog. Richie McKay is absolutely killing it for that squad over there. And I think what you said about how Oregon might end up just overmatching Liberty, just overpowering them, skill and athleticism wise. I think that kind of speaks to what this whole tournament is, right? If Arizona is just Arizona, they should be able to overmatch and overpower Akron, right? If Oregon shows up and plays their best game, they should be able to outskill, out athleticism Liberty as well, Damon Dog. But styles make fights, right? And I think that what you outlined in terms of stylistic contrast there really makes Liberty an exciting pick. And I think it's why a lot of experts are in on Liberty, just like I am, Damon Dog. And I think, yes, there's a little bit of fear when it comes into that, of everyone kind of identifying one upset pick, and it's likely not to happen once that happens. You know what I mean? But I think Liberty really is a stylistic nightmare if you are a team that really doesn't shoot the three very well or often. And I think that, hey, if they can beat Oregon, that's terrifying, right? So if you're Arizona, you probably actually want to see Oregon, which is kind of crazy to say.
Yeah, for sure. One quick little last matchup that I just had to throw in there. It'll be fun for me to watch: Arkansas versus Kansas, Calipari versus Bill Self. I feel like Kansas had a down year, but they're the type of team that, they have the talent to maybe go on a run here and make everybody forget about kind of the down season. Arkansas, I don't think they're that great, but it does feel like a game where maybe like Calipari wins and kind of does like the Tony Stark hands out with the bombs thrown, going off in the background. I know what you
mean. Someone said that the Italian restaurants in that city, when Patino and Calipari show up, are going to have the best week of business maybe of all time in their life.
A Patino Calipari second round would be absolutely incredible as well. I think Kansas versus Arkansas presents some fun matchups. It does. Kevin, we're going to talk a little bit more about, teams that got snubbed potentially. What's going on there?
I also have breaking news for you, Damon Dog. I'm going to ask you to guess the time on T-Mac's 40, unless you already looked in the Slack. And if you have looked in this, then don't, because T-Mac just ran his 40 at the Arizona Pro Day, and I got that time for you on the other side of this break. Damon Dog, it's going to be a long month of March. It's going to be a long early April if Arizona can make it that far. And to relax, we're definitely going to need some cornbread hemp.
No doubt about it, brother.
Gummies. The first ever USDA organic approved THC gummy is cornbread hemps, and you can be a part of history by participating with cornbread hemp. If you want to have a healthy, happy hour, a lot of happy hours don't really focus around your health and your mental well-being, but cornbread hemp wants you to be happy and healthy. It's America's first USDA organic THC edible. Just 10 milligrams of THC per gummy, so you can get just the right dose for you at home. Farm Bill compliant and for legal adults over the age of 21 only. But most importantly, they have no synthetic ingredients, no fluff, nothing that's dangerous for you, the user. It's all just real ingredients. Cornbread uses nothing harsh, unlike most hemp THC products. So if you're looking for a healthier way to enjoy a carefree moment, like hopefully after an Arizona victory against Akron, just carefree, not a fear in the world until we got to face Liberty, you had to go to cornbreadhemp.com/PHNX and use code PHNX for 30% off your first order. Cheers to a healthier happy hour.
Kevin, if you haven't done so already, get yourself a new pair of Shady Rays sunglasses. Shady Rays, independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product that has been rated by 5 stars by over 300,000 people, and that's a lot of people. Use promo code PHNX. You're going to get 35% off your newest pair of polarized sunglasses. And here's the thing about Shady Rays. They are backed by the best protection in all of eyewear. That's right, guys. If you guys lose or break your sunglasses, Shady Rays, you're just going to, send them an email with your order number, say what happened. They're going to send you a brand stinking new pair, Kevin. It doesn't get any better than that, because I know Guy like me, I'm losing my sunglasses constantly. It's like one of the things that, honestly, Kevin, it's one of the things in life I think that makes you feel the absolute lowest, right? Is when you lose a pair of sunglasses. Like when you spend a bunch of money on a pair of sunglasses and then you just lose them.
Not even that, even just a pair that you like.
Forever.
Yeah, a pair that you like. You're like, oh, I got that at Shady Rays, and I don't think I can ever find it anymore. Psych.
Well, here's the thing about
They
Shady
got
Rays.
you.
Shady Rays is giving you a product that is on par with those expensive sunglasses for like a third of the price. But then even if you lose, you break them. Yeah, it sucks. It may be an inconvenience for a day or two until you email Shady Rays and they send you your new pair, Kevin. That's what Shady Rays. That's what they're backing your sunglasses with the best protection in all of eyewear over there.
Protection plan.
It is unbelievable. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal this season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use code PHNX 35% off. Polarized sunglasses. Try it for yourself. The Shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Damon Dog, we have T-Mac news. We have Tetairoa McMillan news.
I'm sad we couldn't get out there.
I know.
Why
Damon Dog.
Like, what? You know what? This is the part that's cool about being like a loser ass basketball program like ASU, where like now pro day is like takes the news, right?
Yeah,
like pro day is like, oh shit, like sorry, I can't say that, but it's pro day. I pulled the Saul Bookman right there.
You did.
They're like, it's pro day. We gotta head out there. We're gonna, this is the show title for the day. Blah blah blah. Kevin. Meanwhile, we're like smack dab in the middle of an NCAA tournament run. Kind of gets put under the door there. But yeah, T-Mac running his 40. Big news. I'm sure it's big news across the football world. So.
Would you like to guess his time? Arizona wide receiver and projected top 10 pick. This is from Jordan Schultz. Tetairoa McMillan had his pro day where scouts in attendance clocked him at what for a 40-yard dash?
I'm going to go with Kevin 4.52.
Damon Dog, you will be happy to know you underrated our guy T-Mac, who ran a 4.48 in the 40. A 4.4
pretty close
time.
guess though.
Yeah. No, it's a good guess. Really good guess.
How about 0.04 off on
that's a great guess.
On the old clicker.
And you'd rather underestimate him than overestimate him, because now we can celebrate the 4.48 40 from the 6'4", 219 freak athlete.
Breaking 4.5 there, I think, is huge for him.
Massive.
Definitely a top 10 pick at this point.
Must be. I'm sorry to Justin Spears, but the Chargers.
I love it.
Out of the running now.
I love it, Kevin. That's huge for our guy T-Mac. Any other stats from his pro day that we have? I didn't look into it because
hey man, it's March. With all due respect to T-Mac, man, it's March, man. Like, we gonna get to you when we get to you, but Arizona basketball, we are on the precipice of something that could be special, just like T-Mac is on the precipice of something that could be special. It's honestly a great time.
So in
to
other
be an
words,
Wildcat.
you're saying that was a yes or no question, and you're saying I do not have set answers.
Oh, my bad. I thought I started my sentence with I didn't see it. My bad. It's one of those things where you get a text and you read it and you respond in your head.
Listen,
but you
T-Mac,
don't
it's
actually
March,
hit
my
send.
guy.
Yeah, no, my bad. No, it was one of those things where like you get a text message, Damon, and you like mentally respond, and you might maybe even type it out, but you don't hit send. And the person's like, "Hey, you're gonna respond?" I'm like,
I just want to know what his vertical is. I guess that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I don't have that though.
That'd be like, I bet you his vertical is like 40 inches.
I mean, we're gonna have to find out. But while Damon is looking for that, I do have some more notes on March Madness stuff. Damon, I think we should probably start with the shot chart that I was referencing earlier. This is a shot chart that I found from Jack Lichtenstein.
And this is the East region?
This is the East region
Gotcha.
where the teams like to shoot from. Like I said, I got this from Jack Lichtenstein on Twitter. Inspiration from Owen J. Phillips or LH, whatever, at the bottom right there. And what stood out to me on this chart here is that people are taking this at home.
Alabama.
I mean, yeah, Alabama. But also, Damon, BYU.
Yeah.
That pro style is insane.
Well,
there are 5 dots in the paint there. Alabama at least has 6.
So looking at Alabama.
And look how deep the BYU threes are.
Alabama clearly takes just a million threes all over the arc, right? If you look at BYU's, on the other hand, it looks like they're corner top of the key threes. They're not taking any of those side angle threes, which are, proven mathematically to be less efficient, Kevin. And then very, very little there in the post there. Arizona's is interesting, Kevin. One of, if not the least 3-point shooting on that entire chart. Vanderbilt's is really weird looking, by the way.
I was actually going to say that, Damon. I was like, Vanderbilt?
Has Vanderbilt taken a corner three once all season long?
Like,
put the chart
no, yeah,
back
I was just going to do this for dramatic effect. Because when I saw that, Damon, I literally saw the chart. I saw Vanderbilt. I leaned into my computer and I went, Vanderbilt?
It's weird.
Vanderbilt shooting like this? Like, that is almost from half court, man.
Yeah, those are deep threes.
And look how dark so for reference, the darker, if you haven't read at the top yet, darker and denser areas indicate a team takes more shots from that spot. Look how dark the above the break threes are, Damon. Almost as dark as the paint shots. That's ridiculous for Vanderbilt.
That is a ridiculous shot chart from Vanderbilt. Arizona's is weird. I think it's a little bit more old school basketball.
Very old school. No West Coast soft stuff.
Which honestly, Kevin, I don't mind for the tournament because I've seen a lot of that West Coast soft style offense, and I'm willing to switch it up at this point. You know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing multiple times and expecting different results. Arizona's been a heavy 3-point shooting team and under Tommy Lloyd, and it's led to a first round loss against Princeton. So I'm fine with this. I think there's teams that like pop in my head, like say like a Miami from a couple of years ago, right, where they had Isaiah Wong, Norchad Omier, and I'm forgetting they had another guard that was really good on that team, I believe, who transferred from Nevada, if I'm remembering correctly.
I think I remember, but I don't have the name.
I think they were a very much mid-range floater, get into the paint style team as well, and it led to a Final Four run because they were tough defensively and their guards hit their shots in the tournament. So I think that's a style that is conducive for winning in March. And yeah, it's a really interesting shot chart, Kevin.
I also had one more note for you on this that I don't think we talked about. Look in the bottom middle here. Are we sure that Robert Morris has shot any shots this season?
Yeah, that's weird.
They don't even shoot from the left side of that 3-point. They just don't do it. St. Mary's doesn't shoot a lot.
Very similar to BYU.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a good point. Liberty actually is very similar and I kind of did when you look at VCU as well, Damon.
Yeah, it's fairly similar.
Like when I described it as kind of a BYU diet, BYU light. I mean, I feel like that was an accurate way of putting that.
Baylor the most all over the place on that chart, I'd say.
Yeah,
they really look like they just shot it from wherever, which sounds like it's kind of like this is the VJ Edgecombe show.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kevin, we're gonna talk about a team that got snubbed here, and just kind of the insane reaction to it. In the public, online, in politics. But we got to talk about some more sponsors here and take a quick break on the AZ Wildcats podcast.
Well, Damon Dog, I love our friends over at Game Time. We were talking to Saul Bookman yesterday about possibly heading out to Seattle for, getting into the arena, watching the game physically in person. And if I was going to do that, I would probably get my tickets through Game Time using $20 off.
Probably.
I mean, no, but I'm saying like if Saul can't slide me a little something, I
definitely would be.
Then I would look to Game Time. But if Saul can get them for free, I'm getting them for free, Damon Dog. Point is, I would go to Game Time for $20 off my first purchase with code PHNX. And my favorite part about Game Time is the Game Time Picks feature. You can filter out all the stuff you really don't want to see, show you only the best deals on the greatest seats in the arena, so you don't have to waste time. I know I waste time on other ticketing platforms at times looking for seats. And I never end up picking one, and I always end up coming back to Game Time with their Game Time Picks feature. It's just so much easier. It cuts out a lot of the time that you have to spend looking for tickets, and it gives you more time to focus on enjoying the event that you're about to go to, Damon Dog. Like I said, they also have all-in pricing. Toggling this feature allows you to see upfront, full fees, no surprise fees at the end of your checkout. Oh, I have a $75 ticket. Turns out it's a $109 ticket because you didn't see fees until you went to checkout. None of that stuff at Game Time. They have all-in pricing. And my favorite part, you can see your seat in the app. In Game Time, you can see your view from the seat. That's probably the coolest part. You don't really know how far you are if you've never been to a venue before until you look at that seat viewing feature. So make sure to take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee.
Guaranteed with our friends at Game Time. And now I'm going to talk about Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Was just at a bunch of casinos in Las Vegas thinking the whole time, damn, I wish I was at Wild Horse Pass because it's just that much cleaner. It's that much nicer, that much more convenient, closer, all of the above, Kevin. The best place for a staycation, low-end dining options, high-end dining options, right in between. They got the concert, the spa, the pool area, all the live table games and slots, They really have all of the amenities that you're looking for in a casino right here in town at the 4 Gila River Resorts and Casinos locations: Wild Horse Pass, Santan Mountain, Lone Butte, and V Kiva. Bet on March Madness over there. They got sports books in all of them. The BetMGM Sportsbook in the Wild Horse Pass is the biggest sportsbook in the state of Arizona, and a great place to watch college basketball games. We'll be out there for some events. Check on our Go PHNX website on our events tab to see when our next watch party is. PHNX Suns does watch parties out there. So does Cardinals. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos.com. Visit playatgila.com for more details, or check out the link in the description below. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos.
You know, Damon, I wanted to, before we get into some legalese and some things like that, because the NCAA is being sued again.
Well, before that, I'd like to say, if you're watching with our streaming partners, head on over to gophnx.com.
You know what? That's why you're my guy, Damon, dog. Because I was going to blow right through that, and you didn't, because you're on the ball. You're on the money today, Damon, dog, and I am not. But I will say, we were maybe on point by saying Arizona dodged a bullet and not getting put up against High Point. Have you seen their new arena? I did not know this until this morning. The High Point Panthers got a new arena, Damon, dog, and it looks like this. Oh my God.
Jesus.
They play in like a state capitol building.
I was gonna say
it's regal.
That's like a sitcom, or like maybe like a High School Musical style movie where there's a basketball team, the opposing team, and they're like the rich, snooty high school.
Yeah.
That's where they play, right there.
This honestly kind of like the white pillars and things like that, not really the Panther in the front or like the parking situation. But for those who have been to St. Louis, this actually looks like kind of where Caleb Love went to high school. I'm not even kidding. But I saw this and I was thinking to you, Dave. I was thinking to myself,
he got recruited there, right?
Anyway, Damon, dog, I was gonna say that. Yeah, no, I saw that this morning and I was like, damn, that's a sick arena. Because what did I say yesterday when we saw the reaction video? I was like, oh, that arena looks nice, huh? And man, is it nice? So I saw that and I thought I would bring that to your attention, Damon. But yeah, like you queued it up. There's some legality things going down, Damon. And Pete Thamel put this out this morning. West Virginia politicians plan to announce an action against the NCAA and Tournament Selection Committee later today tied to WVU's snub. Worth noting there that the now Governor Patrick Morrisey was the AG in the state who successfully challenged the NCAA transfer rules, which is what I thought was the most interesting part about all of this, right? Because you saw when Florida State tried to have some legal action against the NCAA for being snubbed, Damon, dog, that it did not work. I believe I read that Ron DeSantis proposed allocating $1 million to support potential legal action against the CFP, but that never actually went to court. Like, they never actually sued the CFP committee. It never actually came to fruition. It kind of was just like a flash in the pan press moment. So what gives me hope, Damon, that this will be a fun side story to March Madness is that Governor Morrisey has already fought and won against the NCAA. There's a playbook that the man is working off of. He has the little quarterback call sheet on his wrist. He's walking in the court saying, check, plead the fifth, check. You know what I mean? He's going to win. He's going to win, Damon. And I hope that our guys in the Big 12 over at WVU.
What do you win?
I don't know. Respect? Probably maybe a little bit of kickback. I don't know. But they held a press conference about an hour ago, I believe, Damon, dog. So you and I could probably talk about this off air a little bit. But they held a press conference, Morrisey did, off air, to kind of discuss more details of it. But did you see what he was calling the selection committee, the NCAA?
No.
In his announcement, Morrisey referred to the NCAA as the, quote, National Corrupt Athletic Association.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, I thought you find that amusing.
I'm by no means an NCAA like sympathizer or anything. I'm not. Obviously, you know, they're not an organization that is, you know, exactly the easiest to root for. But in this circumstance, man, I gotta say, like, this, I feel like this is like an extremely cold take, like, or way of just going about it, Kevin. I think this is loser. Over the top, right? I think this is loser behavior. Yeah. I think this is insane. Like, you want to know how you make the tournament, Kevin? And I agree. I'm a Big 12 proponent. I think the Big 12 is, I think the SEC is somewhat been overinflated. Like, I think the SEC is great, but 14 teams, we're talking about them like they're God's gift to basketball. The Big 12, I think, was just as competitive, just as good this season. And what Houston did in the Big 12 was that much more remarkable because of how they just ran through an incredibly difficult conference like that. But you want to know how you actually make the tournament, Kevin?
Probably go better than 10-10 in conference, right?
I was going to say you don't lose to Colorado in the first round of the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
You don't lose to the last place team in the conference in the first round of the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah,
if they don't do that, if they make it to the second round, I think that they make the tournament, Kevin.
I agree with you.
It's that poor showing that kept them out. So it's like, at what point do you look in the mirror and say, what did we do wrong? They were dealt a tough hand this year. No Tucker DeVries for majority of the season. They 100% would have made the tournament without it. I heard at one point, and this is something to be mad about, Kevin, the tournament committee supposedly factored in that Tucker DeVries was not healthy as part of their decision-making for being the first team left out. And in that case, I'd say, yeah, that's BS because, Tucker DeVries wasn't there for 75% of the season, and they still maintained a 500 conference record all the way through without him.
Some of their most impressive wins were without him. Like you alluded
Kansas,
to, but some of their most impressive games were also without him. So
I think that West Virginia, two things can be true. West Virginia should be in the tournament, and they probably got screwed. They also their way of approaching this is kind of pathetic.
I agree with the way of approaching it being loser behavior, Damon. I just feel like, one, it's hilarious that the guy that's already fought and won against the NCAA is going back at him, going back to the well one more time. I think that's going to be really entertaining. Also, the nickname he gave them, the National Corrupt Athletic Association, was awesome. And third, North Carolina getting in, and the commissioner of the committee also being the UNC head over there.
Well, and I heard
ridiculous.
It's
a little weird.
I heard last year, maybe it was the year before, like a bunch of Big Ten teams got in, and like one of the top guys on the committee was like the Big Ten commissioner, or one of the guys that's high up in the Big Ten. So like there's definitely some conflict of interest that's going on there. You know what I'd like to see, and I heard Tom Izzo talking about this. Like, I wouldn't mind like a Roy Williams, Coach K, Jim Boeheim, and like I don't even like a lot of, like I don't like Jim Boeheim, I don't like Coach K, but like get the legendary coaches, and as Zach's pointing at, Washington, who didn't even sniff a tournament bid. Not exactly sure what's going on there, but if you're looking at like those top, I want to see like the legendary coaches of the game, Kevin, get together and form the committee. I think that would be the best case scenario for college basketball.
I think that would be absolutely epic, Damon Dog. I think just the collection of those basketball minds once a year would be something to see, right? I think it's also a cool way to keep those guys involved. Like, those guys are basketball lifers, right? Even once you retire, you're still living and breathing basketball in some capacity, I'm sure. So getting together once a year with some of your most intelligent and elite contemporaries, I'm sure a lot of those coaches will be able to get behind that. But maybe we should get you on the committee, Damon Dog. You have some great ideas. Obviously you come up with that one. Who's to say that you aren't leading the way in 10 years for the NCAA committee, Damon Dog?
Like, I'm not a big, like, toot my own horn type of guy, Kevin. And I really do feel like I have a good, grounding and sense of humility. But this is the type of thing where, like, I genuinely think I would be better at it than these people that are in charge. I really do. It's similar to like working, maybe not being the commissioner himself, but like working high up in baseball. Like, I think I could do a better job running the sport of Major League Baseball than the people that are currently doing so. And like
baseball for sure.
Yeah, so I feel like it's a similar situation here. I really and I know it's not an easy job, but I really do. I think I was specifically made for this type of environment, Kevin. I feel like you can attest to that. Like we're getting down in a room and it's just a debate. Bring your opinions to the table.
I mean, you're not backing down.
We're talking about it. I'm giving everything I have. You know what I mean? So I think that would have been, that'd be a good job for me.
You would go in there guns blazing, no intention to back down. UNC's never making it into Damon Dog's bracket.
I don't know about that.
I just feel like this year.
No, not this year's UNC. Certainly.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, UNC this year would never have made it.
And
into
here's
your
the thing
bracket.
about that, Kevin. Here's the thing about UNC. Them having no business making it. I hope you're betting on them in round one, because that's what's gonna happen. They had no business in this tournament, which means they're making it to the Sweet 16.
Who do they got in their
They'll
first
play
round?
A 1 seed, I believe.
Who do they got in their first round? North Carolina, or is it UNC in the abbreviation? I'll find it. let's see. Ole Miss, is that true? Ole Miss or because there is either going to be the winner of SDSU and UNC, Damon, I believe. Yeah, they play SDSU for the play-in.
Yeah, they got
and
Ole
then,
Miss.
Yeah, they got Ole Miss. Yeah,
and then if they play Iowa State and Iowa State's a little bit banged up, they could beat them. I could see this being a good run for North Carolina.
And it's honestly, the way you laid it out, I feel like might save Hubert Davis in a way, right? Because
which is kind of what happened when Caleb Love took them to the national championship game, because they were having a bad year that year and they kind of snuck in and then they went on a run. I could definitely see it happening. UNC, one of those teams like a Michigan State, where it's like when they back their way into the tournament and like they're not necessarily like looking like they're on top, like a 1-2 seed style team. They typically just go on runs and you don't really have any way to explain it. But I think you got to look out for North Carolina in that regard this year, even though they probably shouldn't have made the tournament.
You know who else you got to look out for, Damon? Because sometimes it be your own people. And you got to look out for your own people because they will backstab you sometimes. And I have some respect for this man. But Jeff Goodman, the man has picked the Akron Zips to defeat the Arizona Wildcats. And I'm not going to turn this into a slander session, Damon. But I did want to say that I thought his reasoning was kind of fraudulent. His reasoning was that he just didn't trust.
Sucked.
His reason was that I just don't trust Caleb Love to carry the team.
But that's not reasoning. That is conjecture.
Yeah, it's just talk, right? Because if anyone who's watched this team all year knows, 1, Caleb Love's going to show up in these games. 2, even if he doesn't, the team is capable of winning when he is not scoring because he's been a contributor in every other level of games this year, right? Defense,
they haven't
facilitation.
Lost to an Akron level team once this entire season, Kevin.
I'm totally with you.
Caleb
Akron's
Love
never won a tournament game, Damon.
Caleb Love is not like laying eggs against Central Michigan and like Lipscomb. You know what I mean? Like Caleb Love that's an understandable statement if like Arizona was playing Duke in the Sweet 16. Oh, I don't know if I trust him. I think this is a game where Caleb Love, if he's not hitting his shots, he could shoot him out of this one. That makes sense to me, Kevin. But against Akron, bro, like
You're not going to need tough. You shouldn't need tough shot Caleb against Akron.
Caleb Love, and this is the thing. Like we should have been prepared for this, Kevin, because we talked about Caleb Love and how polarizing he is, how he's at the forefront of everything Arizona basketball does because he has a big name and he's he's very like we've talked about this with our like thumbnails and stuff. He's very photogenic. Like I feel like all this stuff contributes to him being like the face of the program, right?
Yeah.
And so when Arizona loses, everybody's like, "Oh, Caleb Love." And you're like, dude, Caleb Love's been, despite the poor shooting, borderline great this year. I mean, he was first team all Big 12 for a reason. You could have your quarrels with that if you want, but he's been an insane defender. He's been a good playmaker, great leader, all the intangible stuff. Everyone in the program loves him, and he's finding a shot at the right time. To say that you don't trust Caleb Love and that's why you think Arizona's going to lose to Akron, you're just trying to be contrarian, Kevin.
You know what's crazy, Damon?
That's all you're trying to do is you're just trying to go against the grain. This is my school. I know this will fire up Arizona fans who I've already fired up in the past and know that what gets under their skin. And so I'm just going to say, oh, I don't trust them. From my very zoomed out point of view, and here's some analysis and reasoning that, really doesn't mean anything, but I'm going to say it anyways.
And plus, Damon, what I thought was extra egregious was he goes, I'm going to pick Akron and then goes zip, zip, zip him up. He did the little saying. He knew the saying going into the pick. That was egregious. And I forget. Sorry,
I told you, dude. He's just trying to be contrarian.
Pardon me that I forget his co-host name, but even his co-host, when he was giving his pick later, Damon,
he goes, nah.
Like I can't co-sign. Like he's going against his own squad. I got you, Arizona fans. He's tripping, but I'm gonna pick Arizona.
He said zip him up, and then he ended it, I believe, with a negative Caleb Love statement, and then that's where his co-host came in and was like, "Nah, no," and then they cut off the video then.
Yeah. And then I went back and watched the full clip, and when the co-host was giving his take, he was like, "I can't pick Akron. Like I know Jeff picked them, but I can't do it." And I just feel like Mr. Tyler Warden said it in the chat.
I like his Goodman is going to say, I don't think Krivas will be able to guard them defensively. It's so true. Because here's the thing. If you watch Caleb Love this season and your true take is coming away with like, whoa, man, like they might shoot him out of the game. Like you don't understand basketball. The people that are saying that kind of stuff and are looking at Caleb Love's shooting percentage and saying, Oh, well, and let me see here exactly what it is. I think it's like 39% ish, Kevin. 38.6%. The people that are just screenshotting that, putting that on Twitter, and then, assuming that that Arizona has 12 losses because Caleb Love shot them out of all of those games. Those people didn't watch a single Arizona game this season.
Yeah,
Is
I
what
think
it
Tyler
is.
Warden said that in the chat too. Maybe it wasn't him, but he did say that it just shows that, he's
Tyler
maybe
Warden on fire today.
Yeah, he is on
Kevin.
fire today. He's on fire. You know what I mean? As Tyler Warden bangs another comment in the chat. But yeah, it shows that he hasn't watched a lot of Arizona this year. And if he has watched a lot of Arizona this year, he's not been really paying attention to like the overall themes of this year's team and what makes them a contender, right?
Yeah. Real quick, Kevin, before we get out of here, I did want to say I was watching a bracket being done live yesterday, which we're going to do tomorrow here at 12 p.m. So make sure you guys lock in for that. Kevin and I will make a bracket. We'll make it with the squad. You want to involve the people in it, Kevin?
Of course.
Maybe
these are 154 of our closest
PHNX
family members and
Wildcats
friends.
Family bracket.
How about them onions?
Yeah, this I one thing, I was watching this bracket reveal, and they actually had an Akron grad as one of the 3 people on the show, Kevin.
I didn't know they made those.
They do indeed make Akron grads. And this Akron grad was talking about the matchup, and he was saying that he was texting someone within Akron's, I don't know if a basketball program, but athletic department, who was very locked in with what the team's, kind of standing is and what their matchup they would like it to be. They said out of all the possible 4 seeds, because they had some inkling they were going to get 13, that Arizona was the team that they least wanted to see based off of stylistic matchup, Kevin.
Wow.
Because Arizona has size. Arizona likes to run like Akron. Arizona likes to, play high-scoring games, high-tempo games like Akron. But the difference being Akron has 6'7" players at the tallest, and Arizona has, a 7-footer in Henry Vasar. They have Tobe Awaka, who can play a lot bigger than his size. So, I think these Akron people were basically saying that, like, I was prepared to – this Akron guy was saying I wanted to pick Akron no matter who they were playing because it's my squad. But I think this is the nightmare scenario for Akron. And I tend to agree. I think that Arizona got a good matchup when it comes to a 13 seed. A team that lost to another 13 seed in Yale by 16 points earlier this season, Kevin. I don't think you can be too upset about the matchup Arizona got here in the first round. Akron doesn't have height. They like to play very similarly to Arizona. I really do think that this is a good matchup for the Wildcats.
I think this is a really good matchup for the Wildcats, especially from that size perspective, Damon. We talk about Henry the Hammer, our guy AZ Cats G, I believe, in the chat. I think he was in here today. I think he came up with that, right? Was that him? That came
I think
up
it
with
was, yeah.
The Henry the Hammer?
Goat.
Yeah, goat. We were talking about the snowman, and looking back on it now, how cold of a take, no pun intended, was it for me to say that Henry the Hammer was not as cool as the snowman?
Very cold take.
Looking back on it.
We're used to it on this program, Kevin.
All right, buddy. All right, man. But no, I think King Henry and Henry the Hammer both work very well. But as I was trying to say before Damon just violated my entire everything I stand for there, I will say I'm excited for Henry Vasar to start yamming on dudes in this game. The lack of size. Dude, he's going to go up. You know that last dunk he had in the game against Houston where we thought, me and Dan were watching it. We both think, he's about to just run up, tip that back in. And he just grabs it and slams it one-handed. Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be a couple of those, Damon. I'm excited.
Tournament Henry dunks are going to go harder than anything. And the subsequent roar afterwards, that'll go harder than anything on this planet, Kevin.
It's going to feed families, Damon Dog.
It will.
It's gonna truly feed families. And I cannot wait for what Henry Vasar has in store, specifically against Akron. Mostly because
of that height difference.
Because of the height difference,
well,
right?
I'll tell you what, if Arizona's gonna play against Liberty, Henry Vasar is gonna need to have 20 plus points in that game. Liberty. I think for Arizona to win that. I'm sorry, Travial Pursuit, for what Kevin just did right now, saying earlier how much he hated the Liberty Bibberty commercials. And I'll tell you what, I was going to say it at the time, but I forgot, and now it kind of popped back in my head. You would hate to work with Kevin Thomas, sir, because since Liberty got picked...
It's an earworm, man.
Since Liberty got picked in Arizona side of the bracket yesterday, circa 3:20 p.m., I've heard Liberty Bibberty said out loud no less than 100 times by my friend Kevin Thomas, to the point where it's making it where I don't want to be his friend anymore. This was the AZ Wildcats show. I am Damon Fairall. You can follow me at Damon Dog. That's DAWG on Twitter. Follow my guy Kevin Thomas at Kevo Posts. That's KEVOPOSTS. And I need to end this show immediately. Follow us at PHNX_Wildcats for all of the best Arizona Wildcats coverage across all sports. But right now, we are locked in on basketball. But I'll tell you what, we're going to get some T-Mac stuff out there today because
we are.
This matters to me, Kevin, for a little verbal meme.
It is very important to me.
There we go. I'm Damon Dog. That's Kevo Posts. I
am Kevo Post. We are the same person.
Yeah. I mean, it's because you want to know why right there? For some reason, it popped in my head. You're old at.
Buzzer beater. Bang!
AZ Catch G again. Henry the Hammer.
Goodness.
The coiner of the moniker. The man himself, AZ Catch G. We appreciate you, sir. Keeping the super chat streak alive here on the AZ Wildcats podcast.
We got to go back in the VODs, Damon, and try to get like a super chat streak because this is a win streak of epic proportions, really setting the tone.
I think AZ Catch G is at least 3 in a row.
That's crazy work.
It is.
We appreciate you, AZ Catch G.
It is, and he's maybe the MVP of March Madness right now, Kevin.
Yeah, tournament MVP for the
everyone
chat
else.
So far.
Time to step up your game. Although I will say, Mr. Tyler Warden, no super chats, but an incredibly strong commenting performance today.
Scoring on high efficiency, also high volume, though.
Absolutely.
You rarely see that.
Absolutely.
So shout out to Tyler Warden as well. We got a couple for the chat MVP. We should do a chat MVP of the tournament.
Yeah, we should. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for being here. Trevor, Trevelio Pursuit, Tyler Warden, AZ Catch G, Mia, keep scrolling, my guy Kevin, James, Brian, Big T, everybody here. Thank you so much for being here.
Jeff,
Varn, Erica, no thanks since you told us that Memphis is above Arizona in your heart. That kind of took a lot out of me today. I won't lie to you, but appreciate everybody for being here. Make sure to like this video if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to the channel. We will be back tomorrow doing a live bracket breakdown and making our first round of Survivor picks for mine and Kevin's bets. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow at 12 p.m. We will be there. Until then, peace, bear down,
and go Cat!
We all silly like the mayor.